Hi, everybody. Erev Tov. Good evening. Rabbi Randy coming at you from my home office for our nightly Counting of the Omer video. I'm a little flummoxed right this moment because I was getting ready to make the video and open up my laptop camera feature, and for some reason the video taking apparatus was not cooperating. So I have transitioned to using my phone, and it's all going to be, it has to be okay. But I'm really glad we're back to making these videos as we have just started counting the Omer, that period of time between Passover, the second night of Passover, and Shavuot, which is 50 days from Passover. I actually counted the Omer last night at CRC at our wonderful second Seder, right as we closed out the Seder, before we said next year, before we talked about all the things we hope for between this Passover and next Passover. Together we counted the first day of the Omer, and now we're about to enter day two. The day is turning into evening, and that is the time traditionally where we do the ritual counting. I'm actually here in my home office, and it certainly brings me back to an interesting time. This is where during 2020 and 2021 with the pandemic, I made and recorded many videos, including Shabbat services and including a Passover Seder and a Lag BaOmer campfire on the 33rd day of the Omer, which will come up in a few weeks. I don't make as many videos as I used to, and it was a really challenging time. Obviously, a sad time, a time of loss, and a time of isolation, time of fear and apprehension. And with all of that in mind, it was also a time for me to make great advances in my adeptness at this technology. I joked that I moved into the 20th century during those months, and not the 21st, but the 20th. But I did learn a lot, and I can do things now that I couldn't do then, and so all of that's kind of coming back to me as I speak to you. I do love the Omer ritual. There's something really that feels very whole and sacred to me as a spiritual practice. At the same time that it really speaks to journey, which is such part of the heart and soul of this season and the stories we tell on this season. It gets you from point A, from a starting point to the end point. But at the same time, it teaches us to also be immersed in the present moment. So we know as we're counting, there's a destination, at the heart of it. But because we count and label and number intentionally each day of the Omer, we also are able to focus in on this day of the Omer. And because we count at night, because in our Hebrew lunar calendar, our days begin at night, once we make the count that we'll do together tonight, we have all of the day into tomorrow and until tomorrow night to sort of keep that intentionality of the day that we've counted and all of the moments that will unfold during that day in our hearts and our minds and our souls. And so As an introduction, I think of Omer in a number of different ways. It connects us. It's a connecting kind of a ritual from counting the 49 days from Passover to Shavuot on the 50th day. So it connects those two holy days, which in the Jewish tradition are part of an agricultural cycle as well as a narrative cycle. So it connects us from the time of planting, which is now springtime, to Shavuot in the summer, which is a time that the first fruits of what we planted in the spring start to appear. And we see the sign that we'll have had a successful harvest. So it takes us seasonally from springtime, this time of new possibilities and blossoming and renewal, into the season of summer. Right now the buds of spring have appeared, and the weather has just started to get warm, and by Shavuot, they'll be green, it'll be green, and we'll have gotten used to the change in the weather. Geographically, because it's also about our story, of course, about escaping slavery, which is the heart of Passover, going from slavery to freedom. So geographically, it takes us from, Egypt into the desert, and then Shavuos brings us to a mountain, still in the desert, but a different topography. Shavuot is a mountaintop holiday. So we're kind of connecting those two geographical landscapes. And so we both look forward to what we're connecting to, and we immerse ourselves in the present moment. The other feature of the Omer, which is part of Jewish thought and practice, is the grid that kind of gives us week by week and day by day the notion of the sfirot, the divine qualities, the branches on the tree of the godly tree, those branches that are accessible to us, those qualities, those godly qualities, those divine qualities that we can mirror, and that we can internalize. And so the first week here, right, of the Omer, is the quality of chesed, of loving kindness. I have to say, one of my favorite of the Sfirot. And then this day, we're supposed to meditate, reflect about how chesed, the quality of the week, interacts with gvura. And gvura is strength, and some say discipline or boundaries. And so that's a lot to consider. How does chesed, loving kindness, interact with gevura, strength and discipline? And I think that the spiritual teaching is that we're supposed to find a healthy balance, that it is possible, as strange as it sounds on the surface, to have just overflowing love unchecked by gvura, by boundaries, and of course unhealthy to have nothing but boundaries and strictness and no kindness and love. And I think we all can sort of find ourselves on that spectrum. I do believe, with a modicum of self-awareness, that I do love, and I try to lean into love and loving kindness. And I suppose that maybe my spiritual challenge for this coming day of the Omer is to kind of keep in mind when I need to set boundaries, and when a little bit of discipline is needed to temper all of that love that I try to pour forth from my heart and soul to all those in my life and all those who I encounter. So all those things to think about as the sun sets and we enter into day 2 of our counting. Much more to come. I've got some things planned, maybe some songs planned for my week here with you, and Rabbi Daniel and Rabbi Karen will have their own weeks and their own sharings and their own teachings, and looking forward to it. It's nice to connect to whoever's out there to be part of this Omer community. The blessing. There's a blessing for this ritual of counting the Omer, this sacred deed. It's a mitzvah blessing because it is a mitzvah, a Torah mitzvah, in fact, to count each day from Passover to Shavuot. And so it's the same formula for any mitzvah blessing. When we light Shabbat candles, or last night, our Saturday night when we lit the candles of Yontif for Passover, when we sit in a sukkah, when we light Hanukkah candles, when we give tzedakah, all the different mitzvahs, is the b'mitzvotav blessing that ends with the specific action, mitzvah, that we're engaged in. In this case, we end with Al Sefirat HaOmer, the mitzvah, the ritual of counting the days of the Omer. So I hope everyone that had seders or attended a seder or led a seder, it was meaningful, and that there was growth and purpose, and you mixed ancient wisdom right up to our contemporary issues that demand us to consider liberation and what we need to do to continue to get ourselves free and to provide freedom for others. But now we move from the seders into the rest of Passover and, of course, the rest of the days of the Omer. So you can say the bracha, the blessing at home with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat haomer. Blessed is the Holy One whose presence fills creation, where we learn mitzvahs, sacred deeds that fill our lives with meaning and purpose and dignity, including this mitzvah of counting the days of the Omer, this being day 2 of our counting period, Gevura within Chesed, and I hope everyone has a good night, a Laila Tov, and I'll see you tomorrow around this time. Got some surprises coming up, I think, planned, but tune in, and let's make this, let's do this again every night for a few more days and weeks. All right, shalom, shalom, and Chag Sameach.